friends.
The thing's gonna work.
And then he says the same. He says, people who do not try.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's good. Thank you. Probably possible.
I'm glad you're here with us with your hat and your microphone and it's all good.
Probably
I didn't
possible.
know if it was gonna
where are you
work.
from? Where are you from? Probably possible.
We can hear you, James. Where are the elves and where's Mrs. Claus? That's what I want to know.
Hey, the sun's coming up finally.
See, the sun's coming up. Edward's walking, and probably everything is possible. So how can we go wrong?
So let me ask. Probably possible. What location are you in the country?
I'm in Auckland. It's like the biggest city, but it's not the capital. So
he's in New Zealand.
Auckland.
What a wonderful place.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean,
Auckland,
you would think that, but I feel like the international scope of this country is a little bit different to the reality of it, especially now with COVID and stuff.
Is it very strict there right now, sir? Is that what you mean? You can't move about easily, or not like Edward, 5 miles of utter bliss in the morning?
Well, it's definitely confusing. It's definitely if you're this, then you can do this, but this is supposed to happen and that's supposed to happen, and realistically, Auckland of all places is kind of becoming the scapegoat for the whole country.
Right. You have an amazing voice, sir.
We know it, but we don't.
That voice was made for broadcasting. We got to get you a real mic. You can be Barry White. Baby, how you doing?
Good morning.
Yeah, Papa's in the house. Like you could drive him crazy.
So probably possible.
I should have probably been like a radio host or something.
That's right. You got the voice.
Yeah. Probably
Sorry, Edward. I hijacked your broadcaster.
No,
sorry,
no problem.
I'm just being me.
I know. It's okay. My wife and I.
That is the thing about like having so many people in one broadcast, though, is like coordinating the whole thing.
Oh no! I allow people to go ahead and share, and then I jump in. But one of the things, my wife and I were supposed to be in New Zealand this December and heading to Australia.
Right.
But we canceled our trip because of all of the restrictions. So it was we going back and forth, and they finally refunded us the total amount, so it's 100% refund.
Oh, but, that's good.
This was the third time, because we at the end of 2019, right before 2020, we were supposed to go. Hello, Veda. Hi, Benita. Sorry. We were supposed to be going. We're supposed to be 5 days in New Zealand, and then we're supposed to be taking a 10-day cruise, and then we're going to come back and spend 5 days in the Queen's Island in Australia. So we would have been gone for 20 days, but we had to switch it around. So now we're going to be doing other things. So, but we're looking forward to someday in the near future to get a chance to visit New Zealand and the great country of Australia.
The funny thing about New Zealand, though, is that there's a lot of us. Well, I guess you would say this. I guess I'm trying to be what do you call it? Sensitive to potentially people that might be from New Zealand on here, because the views of everybody is rather heated at the moment. As to like where people think the country's going, and like what's actually happening versus the politics of the whole thing. And I mean, politics is always a randomly heated issue to get into, but like
Benita, is that where you want to move to New Zealand?
No, she's going to Australia, Michael.
Oh, okay.
She's her fiance's in Australia.
I've always thought that New Zealand was paradise, like visually.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so, but in the same way that Canada is too, right? So some people say that Canada is like the bigger version.
Well, I think like that we just missed paradise there. We had Santa Claus looking out the window. Did you see that? We had a glimpse before. There is different views of paradise in this world. There you go. All right. Sorry.
Some people like summer Christmas. Some people like snowy Christmas. Some people like
Yeah.
cars. Some people like seas and stuff.
Yeah. Some people like Santa pajamas, to each his own. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for
Yeah.
me, I started Christmas early because HAPS is a worldwide platform.
It
Only the
is.
United States celebrates Thanksgiving. So it doesn't do any good to do Thanksgiving stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything to the rest of
You
the
know
world.
what? You do what you think is best, right? If you're happy wearing, my grandfather, as soon as it was November, he was full throttle Christmas. I was in retail
Yeah.
for many years. As soon as Halloween was over, it was Christmas music, rah, 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 sell, sell, sell,
Yeah.
until January. And then after that, it was depression for 3 months because there was no money coming in. But I don't miss retail.
Yeah. Well, I've
Yeah.
been in
It's
retail
very
too.
funny
So
here because they're
in my
opening
past.
up shopping.
So probably possible. Can I ask
Yeah.
you a couple? Can I ask you a
Shoot.
couple questions? How is the weather currently there in New Zealand?
Blue skies for days.
That's good.
But
I
Sounds
like
like
it.
it
blue
sounds
skies
like a
for
song. Blue skies.
blue
for
skies,
days.
nothing but blue skies.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have family there? Your brothers, sisters, a wife, children?
Well,
Probably
none of that really. But
no brothers, sisters, huh?
well, like they exist. However, our family dynamics not exactly fun loving, and we there's a reality to that, which is abuse and all that growing up. Which
I think that's a lot of families, Bud, that Christmas is a forced gathering where you get individuals together that necessarily would not be together if they weren't family. I love what Janita said right here. The world is a beautiful place. We can adopt anywhere if we want good energy and beautiful mind. So I think to
So
heighten that existence, though, you got to wear Santa pajamas. I think that heightens it to a new level. I have a pair somewhere. I got to go find them. Yeah.
so gentlemen, one of the things that I like to do, especially on Wednesdays, which
Mm-hmm.
starts with especially it
Mm-hmm.
starts with WED, WED. I
Yeah.
like talking about families, the
Yes.
different dynamics. So
Yeah.
probably possible. Thank you for sharing. I will pray for your family. Make sure that whatever outcomes you guys want to work on together will come to pass, because I do
we
believe that all things
we don't
all things are
really
possible.
have any connections. Families.
Okay, understand.
I mean, there's a saying that exists for people that don't have what would you call it, the nuclear kind of immediate family and stuff, and they say the family and what is it, like family and home is where the heart is and all that kind of stuff,
Yes.
Yes,
and who's in your
yes, we heard
life.
that
But
before.
I mean, there's a sentiment to that, but I don't know. I guess my best friend would be silence and alone, not by choice, obviously, but
Okay.
Well,
Well,
there's nothing wrong with stillness and silence. Are you into meditation?
um, that's an interesting one because people meditate and become mindful and all that stuff in their own way.
Right.
I haven't really been able to find that kind of peace of mind for at least a year now. So,
Well, I hope you find it in the new year or even sooner, sir. Right?
well, I
so
mean,
probably thank you for sharing. Uh, what is your area of expertise, your skill set? Like, what kind of things you do for a career?
uh, well, ironically, what I went to university and study for is not really what not really what's being accessible as far as I guess like jobs in the
Okay.
area. And,
you have
Okay.
here as a filmmaker, writer. Are you a musician at all?
I get people saying that a lot, and I
You
did
look
like
like a
YouTube for
musician.
like.
You look. There's a guy. I'll try to send you a photo next time I see you. But his name is Gordy Johnson, and he's in a group called Big Sugar. And you could be his son. You look so much like him. It's kind of scary. But when
I
I used to go
mean,
see him, some 20 years ago, he looked like you, and the women chased him around the stage. It was a tough life. It really was. Yeah.
well,
Can
that
I
would be a
So
interrupt
polar
for
probably.
a
opposite to me.
second?
James, get in there,
Yeah.
James. Tell us
Well,
about when women used to chase you on the stage.
I want to show
Come
everybody
on, James.
worldwide how
Yes.
interesting this is. You have Edward in Orange County, where I grew up. You
Yeah.
have yourself, Michael, in
In
Canada,
Toronto. Yeah.
Toronto. And then
Mm-hmm.
we have this gentleman here. I don't remember his first name, but the guy with the hat.
Yeah,
What's your name?
yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah. But he's a what? Where do you say he was?
A
Where did you say
filmmaker.
New
you
Zealand.
were? New Zealand. See,
New
so look
Zealand.
He's
how
in
Oh,
New Zealand.
look
New
how
Zealand.
look, but look how we're around the world right now,
yes.
more or less,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what's so
Collaboration.
amazing about that.
Right? Yeah. Collaboration and
Yes,
connection worldwide. Absolutely. It's only
and
going to
I'm in
get better.
I'm in
Yes.
Klamath Falls, so I mean, look at that. So I'm in Oregon.
Yes.
Around the
So
world.
probably possible. Could you share with us how you chose your screen name? I like that. Probably possible.
Well,
How did you come up with that?
originally I was doing YouTube for like 10 some years because I didn't really have access to equipment and the fancy things. So I had a different name that I was using on YouTube, which was a common courtesy, which was kind of a play on my actual name. But then I don't know, that YouTube didn't exactly go a whole lot of places, and it ended up basically being like a social thing. Like you'd meet people and they'd be like, oh, well, like, how can I contact you? Oh, okay, my YouTube. But
Okay.
probably possible was it was I always used to find like there are artists and creative people that get like official gigs and all that kind of stuff, like whether it be music or painting or galleries and all this kind of stuff with photography and that. And they're often not the most interesting artists, or at least the
Okay.
artwork and everything that they put out there is a lot of they're meeting this expectation or that expectation, or the market likes this, so they're producing this, and it just becomes regurgitated. And
Okay.
I guess music's a great example of that. This
Yeah.
type of
Okay.
music is really popular, so everyone tries to do that kind of music. But the creatives and the artists that I would just randomly stumble across that were doing like a street gig or something, if
Okay.
they had out or whatever, like before all this COVID stuff, it was what was probably possible, what was possible
Right.
probably,
Yeah.
what was
Okay.
actually
A lot of
almost like if
musicians are
you.
starving now because of lack of choices. But I hope that changes in 2022, right? I'm hoping the restrictions will be less and there'll be more avenues to abundance for a lot of people. That's what we hope.
Well, Michael, a lot of my friends who are in music are actually thriving because they decide to reinvent themselves. They have a
Yes.
lot of online stations. A lot of my friends who are jazz artists have
Mm-hmm.
10, 15,000 people following them now. They have live concerts
Oh, that's
online.
great.
So it just
Yeah.
depends on the quality or the type of music that, like what probably It just depends. Some people have to
Yeah,
reinvent
you're
themselves
breaking up pretty bad, Edward.
because I know, because I'm walking through the space. Is there?
Walking through space. Yeah.
Is that better, Michael?
Technology is great when it works.
Yeah, it is. It's
Is that
technologies, but
Yeah. Well,
it's probably you're probably in a cold spot. We'll call it a cold spot instead of a hot spot.
yeah. I'm just changing. I'm changing. I'll probably change.
But Edward, listen,
Yeah, I'm
buddy,
probably changing.
I wanted to come up for a couple
I'm probably
minutes and
just
say
changing.
hello to everybody.
Thank you, sir.
So
We
James,
appreciate
take
it.
care. Good luck. Probably possible. I hope it's definitely possible in the new year. All right.
I'm glad you came up, Michael. That was cool.
And then there
All
were
right.
3.
Well, probably.
Yes,
Then there
now
were
we
3.
have
Yeah. Yeah. There's.
I mean, I missed the
Yes.
broadcast I was
So,
supposed to be doing 2 nights ago, but yeah. Internet
what
is.
broadcast were you supposed to do 2 nights ago?
I was supposed to do one which was Tuesday for us, like 2 days ago. And then I was supposed to do one tonight, tonight New Zealand time, but I wasn't able to do that either. It's like all the week that I had planned with like faster internet and all that kind of stuff didn't seem to work out properly, so I might have to reschedule it or something. But technology.
So what was?
Finances and
So it's because of the. Okay. So is it the internet speed or
it's just being
the?
able to get to where it's just being able to get there. I
Okay.
mean, it's predominantly the internet speed, but yeah, New Zealand is a very weird place at the moment. What was once open is not necessarily open anymore.
Oh, okay. So was that a location that you went to broadcast? Or? Hello, Jess. How you doing, Jess?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I don't think
So
I've seen Jess in a hell of a long time.
Yeah, yeah. So how is the internet service in New Zealand?
All things considered, it's slow unless you have your own place and all that. But then even if you have your own place, there's something to be said for an interesting broadcast.
Okay.
Like we've all, whether regardless of where we live, we've still all got the same 4 walls. And if you're coming on a broadcast for 4 walls, then you really have to like step it up and actually put on something for,
Okay. Good. So we have the same similar things like you said, broadband, fiber optics, internet, different things, a lot of things. I deactivated my last account on HAPS. That would just said she deactivated her account. So,
Good God.
So she must have reactivated something or started all over. I'm back again to HAPS. Okay, there you go. Welcome back, Jess. So what time is it right now there in New Zealand?
It is 4 a.m. in the morning on a Thursday.
4 a.m.
I mean, I just wasn't able to sleep, so I didn't even. Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one this week, a really rough one.
Thank you, Jess. I just sent it to you just in case you wanted to. Appreciate it. Okay, so is it normal for your sleep, or is this just this week?
The whole sleepless thing's pretty much been happening since last year because COVID. Yeah, COVID kind of eats into everything.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It accumulates. It's like you don't sleep for an extended period of time, and then you try to sleep some nights and you get some rest some nights, and then you don't get any another night. And it's not because you're not trying to sleep. It gets to the point where your body just does not turn off. Like you can be eyes closed, dark room, like whatever, and your body just don't want to sleep.
Yeah. Have you ever used any sleep aids?
Yeah, I've popped the pills over the last year just to try and sleep and all that.
Okay.
Hasn't really done a hell of a lot, but
Okay.
yeah, and there's
Now
like
was this
articles and stuff coming out now as well about like
okay?
COVID affecting people's sleep and how that's like a, what do you call it? It's like a it's a, I guess like a flow-on medical condition of COVID.
Okay. So Jess is in Lebanon. I've been to Lebanon before. I've been to Beirut. Wow.
Really going all
1996.
around the world tonight. Well, this
Yeah,
morning or
this morning. Yeah, but I physically been to Lebanon. So that's a 1996. I was there a long time
feels
ago.
like yesterday, don't it?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I've been to many other spots before then. After that. So, but that's one of the things I enjoy recreation wise. My wife and I enjoy traveling, and I have 50 countries under my belt so far, and
Good Lord.
hopefully, before they put me in my crypt, I will be able to hit all 194 of them. So that's our target. So we are doing everything we can to see every country. Yes,
That's
I've
going
been
to
to
be a lot of
Beirut.
vaccination rules and everything, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have you been? Yes. I've been to Beirut, 1996. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of times when I went to Africa, you have to take certain shots before all this other stuff that has gone on. Uh,
Yeah, medical
just,
checkups and traveling.
all I can tell you that I remember crossing over into Lebanon at the Gaza Strip, and I don't remember exactly the town and city because it's 1996, but it was a great time. Had some great Lebanese food and got to meet a lot of the locals there. It was very nice. But yeah, I morning. I tend to think that what you're saying is a lot of this will continue in some countries. In some countries, thank you for subscribing, Jess. I think some countries are going to uh, roll back because tourism is a big part of their business, and
Yeah,
you
New
know,
Zealand is definitely one of those. It's kind of like a,
yeah,
it's an underlying thing that they don't tend to admit it until it actually affects them, and COVID and all the lockdowns and stuff has basically forced them to admit it. Like the locals already kind of knew that it had like an undercurrent. I mean, there's so many cafes and restaurants and all this kind of stuff, and it's like a student job and whatever. But it's like, yeah, if nobody's coming, we're only like 5, 6 million some people, 2 islands and that, so it's not. Yeah,
yes, Jess. I hope so because I know that Lebanon was dark for a while, but you're correct, uh, John, Josh. Thank you, Josh. No, I think you're correct there. Probably possible that we gotta. And maybe you will understand this. I don't think COVID itself is the actual result. I think our response as the world body, how we responded to this particular event in life, has caused a lot more hurt. With restaurants and travel and homes, and obviously we know that I'm in the death care profession, so that's what I do. So I understand that for all of us, death is a part of our life. You know, and we don't all like to deal with the reality that each one of us one day will pass away, and that's just reality. But I think that uh, what has happened, the human spirit wants to continue to grow and move forward and be free and explore. And I think that's on every continent. I don't think that's just one place. And I don't know where we decide to allow so many things where we decide that we have to live with certain things. Like we decided at one point to live with AIDS. They make it to where they could manage it well. But a lot of times, people going through that situation was very difficult. And then the flu season comes every year. So, uh, all right, James. Thank you, sir. Have a good one. You're welcome.
I mean, there's a
Yeah, I talked
sci-fi
to him.
saying, I guess, or a movie saying, or whatever, where it's just like what we choose to do now affects the future.
Yes, and I think you're right. I think what we choose to do as well individually first, then collectively. Because I believe that every unit, whether it's the family unit first, then your city, then your state, then your country, because I believe that every country's only as healthy as its citizens. And to me, healthcare really has to start with our own health. Uh, we've all known, and they've shared with us based on who has this particular virus affected the most. So we know the numbers and we know them very well. So we have to take care of ourselves and make sure everybody's building up their immunity, taking any therapeutics that they could. If they want to get the vaccination, they can. If they choose not to, I'm comfortable with whatever people choose to do because no one has a right over anyone's decisions. Whether they're
That is a very touchy topic here, though. Like,
oh, I understand, but
in the sense
for
that,
me,
yeah,
go ahead, go ahead, tell me
well,
about
like
New Zealand.
the thing here is that initially they were like when this new strain kind of came out, they were the Delta and all that. They were saying we got told essentially that like it was vaccination was there for those that wanted it, and if you didn't want to be vaccinated or I don't know had needles and
All
all
right,
that kind of
Jess,
stuff like
thank you for joining. I'm sorry about that. Jess was saying
adios,
bye.
Jess. We got to catch you some other time there, Jess. Um,
So go. So they said that it was only those who wanted it in New Zealand.
well, like when the Delta strain basically happened, essentially it was like, well, okay, the vaccine is here from the original COVID-19 last year. And if you want to get vaccinated, that's up to you. If you don't want to get vaccinated, then we've got masks for you and like, you know, uh, what do you call it? Like sanitize and all that kind of stuff. And we'll kind of work, like people are essentially having this choice. But it's essentially become mandatory if you want to try and apply for a job, if you want to try and do this, if you want to try and travel, if you want to do that, it's that you basically have to be vaccinated in some capacity.
Yep.
So in a way,
Yeah.
it's not really a choice anymore. And then there's all this political stuff about how legal it is and how I guess how I don't know how to word it. It's like where the line between like your human rights and individual freedoms and your ability to choose and make choices and all that is almost stripped away from you, or
Yes.
yeah,
Well,
it's a mess.
that's why I put ERO in my title. ERO is events. Because everything in life there's seasons. I look at this event as a season, and that season can be as long as we determine it to be, or it's going to be as short. But in the midst of a season, and that's one thing I really appreciate about time. Because if you ever had a headache, sometimes the headache may be an hour or so. You take something and it dissipates. Or some people have migraines, it takes a couple hours. But we know because the time that a headache's not going to last sometimes all day or doesn't last a week. So I measure
There's pills
things.
for that headache, though, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. No, I'm using this as an illustration. You're correct. But at the same time, you know, we say there are pills for the headache, but when I look at events in life, whether those events are caused by me, that means I caused a certain event to happen to take place in my life, or it's outside of me, like you said, with politics and government and people deciding to make choices for how you and I should navigate life. Well, we still have a choice. You know, we still get to choose whatever that choice may be, because for me, my response to any given situation or any event, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that my attitude and my mental health is as positive as possible, because I still have to live life every day. I want to live, okay? I love living. And I know that some people have allowed, and I hear people talk, the event, the difficulties of this situation to really affect them. But everybody has a different response. My response is life is still going to go on as long as I'm alive right now, and I got to live that to the fullest. So my response is important. And then that helps determine the outcome. So the ERO for me is events are going to happen. Those events are going to be seasonal. My response to that will determine the outcome of it. And I'm just going to continue to move forward. But I understand where people are. I see them, I hear them. And like you said, what restrictions or what freedoms do people have? Everybody have to choose to do what's best for them. That's all we could do, you know?
Well, it's a very interesting topic though, because in terms of growing up and knowing about these, like about the ability to choose for this and that and everything, there's a lot of kind of people that are going to grow up without, I guess, this happening. So I'm going to choose to do this, and I can choose to do that, and I can choose to do this. I don't give a damn. I'm going to choose to do this. I don't think that kind of uh, understanding that you can literally do this and this and this and this and this. It's purely down to choice in most respects. Um, with almost everything. Uh, I don't know that kind of understanding and that comprehension and that kind of I guess you would call it freedom of choice and all that stuff would be like whether that's going to continue on in generations, because the world's going to grow. We're all going to grow up a lot differently in the future, hopefully.
Well, I will say I concur with your assessment, and I comprehend that. At the same time, you and I both know everything is seasonal, and this has been a 2 year, 2.5 year season. and
It's a long one,
I,
man.
exactly. So,
It's a long
but
game.
yeah, it is a long game. But see, I'm going to use your screen name. Probably possible that the human spirit will continue to soar, because see, I believe I'm. You know, I live in the United States. I believe our Constitution. We hold these truths to be self-evident. The truths that we hold truth is that we have all been endowed with inalienable rights, which were given to us by our Creator. They were not given to us by government or any entity, no prime minister, no queen, no president, no senator, no congressperson. We have been endowed with certain rights that come from, for us, by God. And that's where I will always stay in a position until they put me in my crypt. I am willing to die for what I believe in, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that my life did not come from the state. My freedom, my liberty, my opportunity of just being comes from my Creator. And as long as I continue to stand on my understanding of the word and comprehensions of who he is in our life, for me, there is no disease on the planet that the scriptures that I says that every disease he has healed. And I believe he does it, but we have to be open to him being involved in our lives. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want a higher power involved in their life personally, and that's okay. That's again a personal choice for people.
Well, religion and belief is well, at least for the older generations. It's a little. It's always been kind of touchy.
Well, I hear that, but this is what I say: when someone proves to me that the principles that the Word of God teaches, I'm talking about principles, not religiosity, for me to be honorable to my wife and my children, to me to be a protector of my family, to me to be honest broker in life, to me to respect those who don't respect me, for me to love those who are unlovable. For me, those principles, I'm going to keep living by them. And whether people want to wrap that around what they call religion or not, I know that the principles, I'm 57, I'll be 58 December. Since I've been 16, I've been living by these principles, and I am gratefully uh, optimistic, very, very happy that I have the opportunity to live out the principles of the Word of God and the foundational values, the statutes, the commandments that I grow to love and hold dear. Uh, you know, he said he will ask me to pray for my enemies, love those who despise me. That's a higher value than most people today want to really deal with, because most
It's
people,
a higher understanding of compassion, really.
yes, it is. And for me, that's where I'm at. I want to, you know, love and serve my fellow man to the best of my ability, to respect uh, their opinion. But I have a thing I always say: clarity over agreement. Hey, Carmen, clarity over agreement. So many people today say that we have to agree. No, you don't have to agree with what people say or don't say. You can have clarity. So I'm very clear on what people share and what they say, but I also want people to be clear on the principles that I live by. You can't dismiss the principles: to be honorable, to be respectful, to have kindness, to show generosity, like you said, to show human compassion for the hurting, to make sure that people who are abandoned, like last night, I'm in the funeral business. I had to deal with a family. Hey, all this time I hadn't been subscribed to you. Wow. Good morning, Carmen. Hey, how you doing, Dave? Um, when I had to deal with a young lady yesterday who her mom and her brother died very young, sudden death. She's 23, and she had to lay them to rest 10 days ago. And to have human compassion for a young lady and her other two brothers who are younger than her, who lost their mom and their other brother, these are the kind of things I deal with every day. So I see life after 32 years in a completely different perspective. And I see life as very precious, very short, and I don't take it lightly. All right, Dave, good seeing you, my friend, always. So I think that all things are possible. Uh, so we just like you do that. Hey, Miss Carmen. So I, like I said, I've traveled a lot, been around the world. One thing they teach you when you travel is that when you go somewhere, you have to learn people's languages, learn the leadership of their country, and learn a little bit of their language, so that if you need to get around or navigate, like my wife and I have been lost in many countries. I always tell my wife,
Well, now
yeah,
being lost, being lost says a lot about faith in other people, though, right?
yeah, yep, it is.
I mean, there
Okay.
is a
Oh, no
biblical quote
problem.
actually that I know pretty well. Um,
All right, I got it, Carmen. Looking forward to it. Uh, so most what you just said is, I think that's very. What's the word I want to use? Uh, I don't even know. I think you use the word compassion, but how many of us really want to show compassion for someone that may not think like us, may not look like us, may not have the same background. So when you get lost in another country and have, and I can tell you, my wife can tell you, all the experiences I've had around the world have been utterly amazing. Utterly for, and I am grateful the 5 continents I've been on, all the people of the world that I've met, and how much kindness there really is in the world. Can you still hear me,
I don't know
Pablo?
where to follow on from that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm listening as I get ready for my day. Okay. You're a part of my morning coffee. That's
You're
good.
getting ready for your day. I mean, so you're on like
Yeah,
a morning run or something.
no, this is my morning walk. I do 5 miles every morning. It is 7:31 California time, Pacific Standard Time on the West Coast. I'm in California. So, and also Carmen,
Well, that
she's
explains
also
the
out here.
sunshine.
Yes, that's the sunshine. Yeah. So every morning I do this walk 5 miles, Monday through Friday, and sometimes, on Saturday, my wife has something to do, so I'll put a bonus 3 miles in just to keep myself up. And I've been doing this the whole time. And then sometimes I hit the gym and do some little weights here and there, and some jumping jacks and push-ups, and just to keep my blood flowing. So, but I learned one thing probably possible is that most people really just want to, have significance in life. They want to be respected. I say they want to be loved and be loved. They want to love. They want to be loved. And for me, love is a decision, not an emotion. So you decide to love people. But I've learned that human beings, they want power, but they want power so they can at least try their hardest to control the outcome of any situation they're in. They want that kind of power. And then another thing I've learned traveling, that people want influence. They want to be able to share their experiences or their influences to the best of their ability. But I think I found that to be the common denominator for a lot of humans around the world, because we all want to control the consequences or the outcome of situations. And when we don't sense that we can do that, that's when you have, like what you talked about, the sleepless nights, or people get into the place where they now believe that they don't have a right to choose to go to the market or to go outside or whatever. That's when we have a whole different area. Because when things are taken away, we can't determine our own outcome. Or try to control it to the best of our ability. That's the thing that people have a different morning.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that gets assumed and taken for granted as far as upbringing and the experiences that you have in life, which that creates a lot of disconnection from people. Well,
Yeah.
and at least that I got to kind of notice in that.
No, I agree with you. And since you said that, I share a little bit about myself. I am the 15th of 17 children, and my parents were married 58 years before they passed away. So I grew up in a home with 16 brothers and sisters, a mom and dad. In 2013, all 19 of us was alive, and what a sight! Just to see all of our brothers and sisters, my parents, my nieces and nephews, my great nieces and nephews, and my great great nieces and nephews. We had a big family reunion, and just for me to know that not what I consider not monetary gain or not what we call somebody who has a lot of trappings with a big house and multiple type of cars. No, what we had was love of family. And my parents, I would never forget, these two people loved each other unconditionally, and they transfer that to their children. And I'm truly a product of James and Irene. And I am so grateful to these two people that they always told me things will come and go. And always remember in life, get better, never bitter. And I practice that all the time. And my dad always says, be careful what plane you jump out of, because life comes without a parachute. And
I mean
see,
that's the positive outlook of life.
yep,
But
yep. Well,
however,
my question,
positivity is not like I feel like positivity can be overstretched. You know,
well, you can
if
say that, but I think negativity is overstretched.
well,
I
yeah,
think
but
people focus on the negative so much of things that we cannot control. We control our attitude every day. So I agree with you.
that's true. But we can't control the surroundings that we live in every day, which affects how you feel. You can feel happy till the sun come up, but if someone gets you down, it's not resolve and it's not all this kind of stuff. It's it's how you adapt to the environment that you're in.
Yes, of course. Or because I'm not a tree, you're not a tree, I can leave the environment. So I'm not planning anyway, because for me, if there's an environment that's not healthy or not conducive to helping me become all that I can become, because becoming something is different than just saying being positive is overstretched. I do believe at 57, I've been on the plane a couple days, that people focus more on the negative parts of life than all the positive things that they can look at. And
I
if I
mean,
come on any of these, if I come on any of these platforms in the environment, because I get to choose, even on television, I get to choose every day what I allow into my eye gates and my air gates in my mind. I have to guard my heart. And I've learned over time, I'm going to guard my heart from things that I know that's not going to benefit me long term. And that's just one person's opinion. That's all.
although positivity and negativity is kind of like light and darkness, people associate things with both terms. Um, there's a thing I actually said, and I think somebody started like a conversation in one of their other like pre broadcast posts or something where yin and yang. I saw this thing on Instagram at one point where it was like some old philosopher or whatever that was saying that you yin and yang, the white and the black, you wouldn't see the what do you call it? You wouldn't see the white part of it if there wasn't the black part of it. Otherwise, it would be formless. It could be like it would look like a moon. You know,
Hmm.
but
Hello, Joy.
if you didn't have the night sky, you wouldn't be able to see all the stars and everything. There's
Uh huh.
there's a little bit too much association with like light and dark and negative and positive and all this kind of stuff because that's all subjective.
Okay. Well,
It
and
it,
I
it,
don't.
it all depends on what you consider positive and negative, what you consider like a negative attitude, a positive attitude, what's good for you, what's bad for you, you know.
Well, and like you said, it is subjective. So subjectivity. If you say light and darkness, my definition is two different things. I look at light as knowledge, because light in Hebrew is the entrance of knowledge. When people are in the dark, they lack knowledge of a particular subject. So they say, oh, that person was in the dark. But when they found out the knowledge about a subject, they say, oh, the light bulb came on. When they say that, that means that person comprehends the darkness that they were in. When I walk into any room in my home, it's dark. The moment I flip on the light, it floods the room with light. So now I can see around everything I'm looking at. Uh, I understand that it's subjective, but that's to the individual. That individual can look at things in a positive way, a negative way, or they can also choose to reason with it and say, let me find out how to navigate this situation. Let me find out how to communicate well or whatever. I agree with you 100%. Some things happen and people like darkness. I mean, literally like it. They like things to be uh, what I call, in my estimation of the people that I met in my circle.
I
Some
mean,
people like,
like a room has to be dark for us to be able to sleep, right? And everybody has to sleep.
yes, yes, and that's why
It's
we have night. That's why we have night. The
so
two.
darkness has a purpose.
Oh no, without question. But when you and I talk about darkness, we're not talking about darkness of night. We're talking about the darkness of someone trying to violate you. When I use the word darkness, I'm talking about things that are not bringing like kindness or compassion or generosity. That's what I'm talking about. The
So
opposite of
the
the
darkness
opposite.
associated with evil and all those
You,
kind of
but
things, right?
yes, yes, not that. So when you use the word darkness, obviously we know sleep is important. So when nighttime comes, our bodies automatically adjust. The moon, circles the earth 365 and 1/4 days. This is things that happen with nature in all the season that we have: winter, spring, fall, spring, and summer. All these things are they're cycles. Our body goes through that same cycle. So even for me as a biblical person, it says evening and morning. Evening and morning was the first day. Evening and morning was the second day. So there was a firmament that separated evening and morning. But
Like a
at
cycle kind of thing, right?
exactly. So at the end of each one of those, he said, uh, "Sure. Well, you got my email, Joy." Carmen said, "What? I just Joy. But if you like, I could be okay." That's Carmen talking to Joy. So, like you said, a cycle, and uh, I appreciate, probably possible for you and me to have a conversation like this. I think it's a great dialogue. I don't think a lot of people really make an assessment. Like I said, being married is a whole nother realm of, you know, communication, pursuit, uh, priority.
Relationships
Uh,
are a interesting one as
Yes,
well. You
exactly.
have a
That's
lot of
what I mean.
people that are found in love and found for whatever reason, and they're in a relationship for whatever reason, and it's meant to humble you as a person, whatever that means for you. But
Yeah.
there,
Well, I can tell
divorce
you,
is still a thing. People break up is still a thing. People have arguments, and they make that the crux of the reason that they end things or whatever. But yeah,
yeah, no, you're right.
there's
And
a
I
lot of
tell you,
questions as to whether that still exists nowadays in newer generations.
well, I don't think the fact that dialogue or communication or respect goes away because of generation. I think that a lot of people don't embrace it because, like, when you talk about relationships, humble you, uh, when you have to, uh, and I look at the word submission. The word is there's a mission, and my wife and I have this thing that we always say. We have a mission of a covenant of marriage. So when we submit, we're not submitting just to each other. We're actually submitting to the mission that we have chosen each other for a reason, and we want to make it work. If you look at the word division or the word divorce or even the word diversity, the two first parts of that word is die, D-I. That means two. So if my wife and I live in a home where we have two visions, that division does not support growth. There's a scripture that says a house divided against itself cannot stand. So we endeavor every day to get on the same page, to communicate, to put things in writing, because there's another scripture that says, how can two walk together unless they agree? So we have a set of family agreements where we know how to communicate to each other. We want things financially. socially, spiritually, sexually. All these things have to really be discussed. And my wife and I, we practice this because we want to eliminate and avoid as many difficulties that we can by looking at things in advance, taking a proactive approach to it so that we can really come up with what is the best strategy for us? What's the best strategy for our children? What's the best strategy for our grandchild? So we do these things, and I believe that everything, this is just me, I believe that there is knowledge about everything where you and I can find out what's the best place for us to be with this particular knowledge. And if I don't have that knowledge, I will find a person who I can go communicate with, which I do have mentors in my life and people who've been married 60 years, 50 years, lots of people that I've had in my life. The majority of our family been married for a long time. And I believe with everything in me that if two people really want to work together and make things work, they have to be on the same page.
Yeah, it's I guess that would be an ideal.
Yeah, well, I hear that, but the ideal is even today, 2021, we're still going to have over 4 million people in the United States that get married this year. And around the world, more people get married, and people keep doing it because there's something about companionship that, again, people want to love and be loved. And if you think about it, we hear over and over that 50% of the people who get married get divorced. That's not a true assessment because they only report the ones who get divorced. They never report the ones who stay together. Never.
I mean
So if you look
that's
up,
true.
you got to go look at the statistics of how many people actually stay together, and they never do that. So it's for which is funny because my
Oh,
wife and
you're
I always
staying
says,
together? No, you're not some statistic. We don't care. Oh, you're together. That's mighty fine. You stay together, and y'all can invite me to the wedding, and when things go south, y'all can give me a call,
exactly. There
and
you go.
and
That's
we'll
the
see if we
that's
can't
the
do
radio
something about
spot.
that.
That's the radio spot right there. So still, I think it's a $55 billion industry in the United States. Still, even during COVID, people were still getting married through Zoom and everything else. I mean, it
Good
shows you
God.
the resilience. Yeah, but for me, probably possible. It shows you what is possible if the human spirit really wants to grow. They still can. And like you talked about getting vaccinated to go to different countries. Well, my wife and I last night was sitting on the couch and we just decided to take a trip to the Northern Lights. You know what we did? We turned on YouTube and watched 3 or 4 different clips of the Northern Lights. You know what we did? We went to the Northern Lights in New Zealand.
Huh.
So that's what we did last night on our couch in our home. So, and we do that all over the world. We can look at different countries, different people groups, different languages, where they make all kinds of different things around the world, the villages and how the women cook and take care of their family. And for me, I've learned, and it's so amazing, especially going to uh, different countries and watching the people that have very little of nothing. I say, but the joy and the happiness that they have just being alive is amazing.
I think there's an inherent quality to being human and one and like I guess admiring the way that others conduct similar kind of life activities as such. You know how other people eat, how other people like have their family gatherings and what and
Yeah, I
everything
watch.
else.
Yeah, I watch it. My wife and I've been in many homes when we went to China. I can't even tell you, probably possible for me to tell you that my wife and I stood on the Great Wall of China. We went inside Chinese homes and they fed us. And the reception that we received was utterly amazing. We really were aliens because I mean, literally, you got to understand the concept of them seeing a black person for the first time in their life. They seen them on TV,
They're
but to
like, what
have one
the
of
hell is that?
exactly, exactly. When they come up and touch our hair, they were giving us their children, saying, "This is your uncle." I'm probably literally on thousands of Chinese websites right now holding Chinese kids where parents are taking pictures with us. In the whole week, it happened the whole week. And my wife and I was utterly amazed, probably possible. And this is what I'm telling you, the experiences
Oh my
I've
god.
had has been completely joyful. Same thing when we went to Denmark. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Just the, you get the tall people over there with the blonde hair, blue eyes, but the way they look at you, it is almost like they can see through you. But for them to see an American, number one, and then number two, a black person, is just for me the joy of them looking at a rose. Like if somebody looks at a rose or a rose bush or different color roses, it to me that is the fascination of life, of just traveling and learning that there are so many different attributes on the planet that I don't take
I
anything for granted.
mean, they do say that travel gives you a better outlook on life. I mean, it's weird this side of the globe though, because the idea of travel this side of the globe, generically speaking, seems to be one Commonwealth country that travels to another Commonwealth country. So their idea of travel basically becomes, this is how they do it in this country, which is connected to our country, which is essentially a similar kind of way to do things. And
Yeah, no, you're
I
correct,
mean,
and we say the same
I mean,
thing. We
I
say
could
the
go
same thing here.
on.
Yeah, no, I know you kidding. We say the same thing in the United States. Some people leave California and go to Vegas, or they leave Vegas and
And
go
you're
to
like,
Texas.
oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
went you went to like a desert.
another state. You went
Congratulations.
exactly, exactly. You went to another state, same language, same leadership, same politics, same, and the people all look like you. So you really travel just to a different region of your same country. But when you go to a place like my wife and I've been, where we do not speak the language at all, okay, uh, that's fascinating. To go to China and to have a translator, because we had to hire a translator in China for the week to get around. And these are the kind of things, and that's the kind of vacations I like. I want to go to places where we can go to people's homes, we can learn, we can, especially when we went to Israel, the same way. They hear people speak Hebrew and go to Hebrew homes and to listen to them, and to different regions, to go to Jordan, the Jordanians, and just Turkish, to go to Turkey. I mean, these are different places that when you go, it just gives you a completely different perspective on humankind. But the thing is, and I say to you, everywhere we've been, the accommodations of people and how they accommodate us, unreal, unreal.
And let's not get started on the food now. I mean, everybody got to
Oh
eat,
no, no,
bro.
no, no. Listen, now listen, probably possible. That's possible because listen, some of the food around the world, the spices and the taste and the things, unreal. I mean, just the palate is just
You
completely.
can do
This
this
is
with
one thing.
this. You can do what with what now?
Exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
believe it.
Yeah. So, and because, we're meat and potato country, pasta, things like that. But you go to other
Corn and
countries and
everything.
yeah, exactly. You go to other countries
Well,
and some of the stuff, where just the way they do different foods and the different scents, and just having different foods is just fascinating to me. And I would tell you over and over, the life is just too beautiful. So we're good. I'm so grateful. So, but how did you find me anyway? Probably possible. How did you find my stream?
uh, I don't. I don't even know. I just
You just
I,
go down
I
the feed.
some just popped up, and I assumed I was already subscribed or something. I don't know. It's uh it's a beautiful mess.
But
Life
so
is a
so
journey.
since
We don't know how we get there, but we get there somewhere.
exactly, you got it, man.
Uh,
I appreciate. Well, here, check this out. So I can get to greet you. You get to greet me. Hello. Edward.
Well, I don't know. Should I drop my real name on here? I mean, that's
That's up to you.
always been
It's
a
okay.
weird thing for me. I like normally I would have never. I would have like normally nobody ever dropped like a name or something because it was like, oh, if I drop this, then if I'm trying to have a whole artist name or whatever, then that was a thing. But then Haps almost opens that up where it's kind of like, cool, I can actually have my name on here, and then people can be like, oh yeah, so da da and so and so. And I
Yeah.
don't know. It's truly a unique platform.
Yeah, it is. It's very unique. I like it. I was on Periscope before. This is good, but they said there's some changes are coming. So we'll see
Yeah, I
see
don't
if
know
the
what I
changes
think
come.
of the changes.
Well, I don't know, but we'll see what happens. And if not, I'm
Because
also
there's
on
good changes and there's
Telegram.
bad changes.
Hey, that's true. That's true. All change not good. You're right. So, but I appreciate you, man. I gotta now. I'll be back on, but I got to go get ready because I have a 2-hour ride to San Diego.
Good
So,
God. Got to put
yeah.
on the
Well,
good
I got.
chance.
Oh no, no, no. I'll turn on Periscope when I drive. I turn on Periscope, and I'm not. I mean Haps. I mean Haps. I turn on Haps, and everybody get to ride with me down to San Diego. So I do it every Wednesday, so people know. I do my walking, then I do my drive. So. But I'll be back on in about 30 minutes. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I mean, I haven't even had a coffee yet.
Yeah, I
But
know, but you need to get some rest anyway. If you could fall asleep, but if you're awake, join me. And it's a great talking to you. And thanks so much for your conversation. I don't take it lightly. Probably possible.
to be honest, I didn't even. I saw the invite and I was like, I know the internet connection here in this here hostel's gonna be crap because I've tried to do a broadcast from here before on a previous phone that I had and it turned to crap like. But I don't know. Surprisingly, it's working on a laptop, but I guess the video resolution and everything is different. So maybe
Yeah,
that's
and,
working
and
in my favor or something.
yeah, it is. And you and I are supposed to talk today, and it's supposed to be clear. That's all. That's possible, right?
It's probably possible.
There you go. All right, my
We
friend. I
will
talk
find a
to
way.
We will. I'll talk to you again soon. Okay.
All right, I'll try and stay away for it. I'll go get a coffee. I'll get something to eat, maybe.
All right. All right. If you come in, I'll see you. Thank you, buddy. Bye bye.
All right, I'll catch you.